Let's go.
You're in 4-down territory.
This is one of our favorite sections to the podcast every college football season, and I love doing this, Darren. So let's get right into it. 4-down territory. We pick our sure thing, the team that we are absolutely convinced is going to win no matter what. We also pick our upset of the week, and we include a brown bag. We'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute.
That's
and then
right.
post-game quote of the week. So let's start with our sure thing pick. Out of the games this week, Darren, I'm going to go with my sure thing is Ole Miss winning at Tulane.
I think that's a good one. You know, we talked about that just a little bit ago, and I'm going to stick with Texas A&M over Miami. I'm just very confident that Miami just does not have what it takes to be the speed bump that A&M, what their offense looks like, they're going to be capable of. So I'm going to stick with Texas A&M over Miami as my sure thing.
How about your upset pick of the week?
Going to go with Vanderbilt. The Wake Forest is favored. Wake Forest is favored because it's a home game. If I'm going to pick them, I'm going to stick with them. So that's going to be my upset pick. How about you?
Pick them, stick with them. I like that.
I meant to do that. Sure, we'll go with it.
This was a tough one for me as I looked at the schedule. Who is just the games that are being played in the SEC this week? I thought, well, maybe I'll pick Austin Peay against Tennessee. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's not Tennessee's going to win that game. It's not even going to be close. So I looked at this Texas-Alabama game, and I have a policy, unless they're playing LSU, I don't pick against Nick Saban because for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, right.
But I kicked this around. Quarterback change, is he for real? Are there any areas where Alabama could be exposed? And does Texas have some weapons that might be able to expose those? I'm not a huge Longhorn fan, especially when my son-in-law is a huge Oklahoma Sooners fan.
You're a smart man, right?
So I feel like I need to apologize to him for even making this pick. But something tells me this Texas-Alabama game that we may be surprised. And so I'm going to throw it out there, and Texas pulls off the upset.
So far, we're in our second week or week 2 of the season, even though there's a week 0. And in back-to-back podcast, you said last week Tennessee is pulling off the upset against Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide when that week rolls around. And now this week, you're calling Texas to pull off the upset and beat Alabama.
Yeah, I said Tennessee because, we have some listeners, Brandon that was on the show, he loves Tennessee. And
That's
so I was
right.
like, you gotta support the people that support you.
Well, we've talked about this going back to Texas, Alabama. We've talked about, Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt. Is it Ewers? Is that right? If he doesn't get hurt last year, that had the potential to very much be a different ball game. So he comes in strong and healthy this year. Who knows? I still think Texas is or Alabama is going to win. Look, you almost swayed me, and I didn't even. I still think Alabama is going to win, but man, that's a strong pick.
Yeah, and I don't feel that strongly about it is the problem, Darren. But
I understand completely.
I think it's going to be a good game. Again, Alabama is so tough to beat at Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how that goes. So let's move on to our brown bag pick, and I'll just hope people skip that last section. So if Alabama beats them by 30 points, I won't have to listen to that.
We'll just pretend it didn't happen. That's what we'll do.
Now, on our brown bag pick, Darren, I believe you and I are in agreement. We picked the same one. So
yes,
why don't you go ahead and share with our listeners and watchers?
Well, let's just in case we have new watchers on board, which by the way, we've been really thankful for the amount of speed we have picked up on YouTube so far, the amount of people that are viewing our videos and looking at, liking our videos, commenting on our videos. We are very thankful for that and encourage others to do so. But since we do have so many new viewers on YouTube, let's say that our brown bag pick is somebody from the last week that did something, whether it be a team, a coach, a player. In some cases in the past, it's been an entire school, whoever it is, that did something during the past week to earn the old brown bag over the face. You know, the old school Saints fans, wearing the brown bag. That kind of brown bag is what we're talking about. And you and I were, as you said, unanimous this week in picking Shane Beamer to lose a game to North Carolina, and then in the post-game press conference say, does anybody have any stats? Well, probably nobody does, because that's been the whole problem. And we were trying to execute an onside kick and had to wait for the chain gang to eat their hot dogs. I mean, are you kidding me? And we're fans of Shane Beamer. You and I have talked about that before, but to me, I'm pretty certain that when he goes back and watches that, he will wish that will be a moment, that will be a video he wishes he could make disappear. Because I think that was just out of frustration and aggravation and agitation in the heat of the moment. What a silly thing to complain about. Just blew my mind. Definitely a brown bag moment for Shane Beamer.
Yeah, and we've all said things in the heat of the moment when our emotions are raw that we wish we hadn't said.
Absolutely.
For most of us, though, we've never done that on national television.
Exactly. That's
So
definitely the disadvantage he's at there.
I think you're right, Darren. I think it was an emotional response,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's one of those things. You go back, you process it, you think about it. You may have a
Mhm.
different viewpoint on it. So,
Yep,
by all means, Coach Beamer is a quality guy, a good coach,
absolutely.
and it's tough. This is an emotional game.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, what are we going to do to top that with a post game quote of the week, Darren? What did you find this week?
Well, we've talked several times in the past, and we'll continue to talk into the future. Unfortunately, as we've talked about before, when it comes to post games of the weeks, there's a couple of guarantees. Unfortunately, one of those guarantees is no longer with us in Coach Mike Leach. He was always good for a good post game quote, but in the same state, there's another coach that's always good for a post game quote. So I'm just going to hit play, and we can watch Lane Kiffin give us our post game quote of the week.
After that first play by Mercer, the touchdown, just how did you feel the defense kind of responded after that, just overall in it with this new system under goalie?
Well, I said on the headset, I paid a lot of money, Pete, for you, and that's not exactly what we're expecting. So that wasn't a real good start, but they did tell me after that we only get 14 yards rushing. So maybe my joke he responded to. But no, that first play broke on the quarterback pulling it, and then we settled down and played really well. And I thought did a number of things to kind of give them some issues.
To me, part of what's awesome about that is I can absolutely guarantee you, with just a very little bit of doubt, that he said that. He absolutely said that on the headset after the just kind of keep things going, keep everybody moving in the right direction. No big deal. Let's execute our game plan. I have zero doubts that he said that on the headset.
Great sense of humor, and I doubt if Pete was still at Alabama and that happened, that Saban would have said that to him.
Do you think there would have been a joke of some kind Saban would have had? No,
Probably not.
No, definitely not. I agree.